Growth in the economy in 2022 brought lower unemployment, with further reductions projected for 2023. The latest unemployment rate in December 2022 was 19%, with youth unemployment at 25.9%, both being the lowest since 2010. Mr. Speaker, we remain committed to driving overall unemployment, and in particular youth unemployment, down to single digits before the end of this parliamentary term. Mr. Speaker, the improvement in the performance of the economy has enhanced the government's fiscal position, which enabled continued provision of financial relief to individuals, particularly within the vulnerable and low-income groups, to assist them in mitigating the impact of inflation. Mr. Speaker, our overall revenue performance also increased, driven by the expansion in domestic economic activity and elevated imported prices. There were moderate increases in current expenditure, but the overall deficit declined from 287.6 million, or 5% of GDP in 2021, to 17.3 million, or 1.5% of GDP in 2023. Mr. Speaker, following 3 consecutive years of deficits, the primary balance returned to a surplus of 82.4%, or 1.3% of GDP, while the current balance improved from a deficit of 139.1 million, or 27% of GDP, to a surplus of 12.6 million, or 0.2% of GDP. Mr. Speaker, there was a deceleration in the total stock of public debt, with the country's debt to GDP ratio down to 69.8% in 2022 from 85.9% in 2021. Mr. Speaker, the government, mindful that the upturn in economic activity may not have been felt by the vulnerable, increased the public assistance budget by 5 million to 25.9 million for the year 2023. This figure represents the highest allocation to those most in need. Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding the increases in allocation for public assistance, the St. Lucia Social Development Fund, SSDF, distributed over $17 million in social intervention programs.